The golden rule when traveling has always been leave a place better than you found it. When you visit somewhere, you should take nothing but memories and leave behind nothing but footprints. Sadly, some tourists haven't heard this age-old saying and ruined some amazing views and ancient ruins. In today's video, we're going to show you some of the world's most beautiful and interesting places and how they've been destroyed by ignorant and selfish tourists. Duckbill Rock Formation, Oregon. If you've ever been to Oregon, you may know they've got some amazing national parks. People come from far and wide to see the amazing Duckbill Formation. The Duckbill Formation was a sandstone rock which looked exactly like a duck's bill. People like to look at it, take photos, and climb on it. This is despite the barriers put out so people couldn't go too close. However, in 2016, the rock formation was found to be crumbled. What used to look like a duck's bill now looked like a bunch of pebbles on the floor. They thought this was simply nature wearing the rock down, but then a video surfaced online which showed a group of teenagers intentionally destroying this amazing formation. It took thousands of years for the elements to turn the rock into a shape of a duckbill, but it took mere seconds for these teens to destroy it. This video caused outrage in the Oregon area, but despite the video being played on the news, the teen vandals were never caught. The Tree of Tenere, Niger. You may not think a single tree is an amazing landmark, but in the middle of the world's largest desert, it sure is. The Tree of Tenere was the only tree for 250 miles. It was the only living piece of greenery in the Sahara Desert, and for hundreds of years, nomads who live in the desert use this as a landmark to get around. Biologists described this tree as a miracle. Many failed to understand how a tree could survive in the desert with no water. But ironically, this amazing landmark was destroyed by a liquid, specifically an alcoholic liquid. One day, a Libyan driver had been drunk driving in the desert. Although there's nothing for miles around, he managed to plow right into the only tree for hundreds of miles. Sadly, the drunk driver snapped the tree trunk, meaning it could never recover. The Niger National Museum put up a metal sculpture where the tree once stood, but sadly the sole reminder of greenery in the Sahara Desert is now gone. Torres del Paine National Park, Chile. Chile is home to many amazing national parks, and one of the most beautiful was said to be Torres del Paine. It had gigantic granite rock mountains. It also had trees, waterfalls, and glaciers. But unfortunately, humans have been ruining this amazing place, and they've been doing it with an invention as old as man: fire. In 2005, a tourist used a gas stove in the area they were camping, where you weren't allowed to. These stoves set fire to some grassland which then spread, and the fire went on for 10 days. This single fire destroyed 7% of the entire national park. Then, in 2011, a tourist made a campfire in an unauthorized area. This resulted in a massive fire, which was only put out thanks to heavy rainfall. Later that year, a tourist had the bright idea to burn some toilet paper. This caused another very big fire. The end result of this fire caused the national park to shut down until 2012. And more recently, in 2015, tourists were banned for creating unauthorized campfires again. I know us humans love national parks and fire, but we have to be more careful. Paleolithic Cave Paintings, France. These amazing cave paintings can be found in the Lascaux Caves of France. These cave paintings are from the Stone Age, but they were only discovered in 1940 by accident. A few French teenagers were in a cave one day and they were looking for their missing dog, but found something even more amazing. In the cave were 600 cave paintings and 500 limestone engravings. These were of animals, humans hunting animals, and symbols. This amazing piece of history attracted many tourists, but what no one thought about was the tourist body heat. All of the body heat and humidity in the cave caused the cave's climate to change. This created a pervasive fungus on the images. They did try to put air conditioning in the cave, but it simply would not work. Sadly, 23 years after it was discovered, they had to close the cave for good. Nazca Lines, Peru. If you take a look at a certain area in Peru on Google Earth, you'll see something rather strange. This is known as the Nazca Lines. They've been called the greatest archaeological mystery in the world. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and it's 2,000 years old. The gigantic lines in the stone make no sense when you're standing on the ground, but from the sky above, you can clearly see amazing and unusual images. Some believe that these were done by ancient aliens, while others believe that humans did this as a message to their gods. But ironically, this amazing place was ruined by the climate activist group Greenpeace. In 2014, they did a big publicity stunt next to the Nazca Lines. they laid out the words, "Time for change." This was because of a UN climate change talk which was being held in Peru. Greenpeace did this next to the gigantic etching of a hummingbird, but their words and also their footprints caused major damage to the site. Sometimes lazy drivers also cut through this plane, and in 2018 a truck driver drove right through these amazing carvings. Sadly, he damaged 3 of the images, but thankfully he was later arrested for damaging cultural heritage. It's safe to say that humans have messed up the Nazca lines quite a bit. Maya Beach, Thailand. For many years, Maya Beach was a hidden gem. Only people in Thailand knew it as the prettiest beach in the whole country. The sand was totally white, and the waters were crystal clear, and there were also large cliffs covered in trees. But all this changed in 2000, when the movie The Beach came out. The movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio was massively popular, and it made many tourists from all over the world visit Maya Beach. All of a sudden, every day 5,000 tourists were showing up and 200 boats would visit the area every day. This ruined the bay's ecological system. The boats caused major pollution to the water, and all of the tourists left lots of litter laying around. Also, the sheer number of people caused lots of contaminants, and this damaged the coral around Maya Bay. Many locals wanted the government to shut this down, but because it was making so much money, they simply wouldn't. In 2018, they finally caved and closed the beach for 4 months, but this wasn't enough time, and the beach was still ruined. In 2019, they closed it yet again, this time indefinitely. They said they'd close this amazing beach until it went back to normal, but sadly, experts say this could take many years, and it may never go back. Bungkuk Lake, Cambodia. The Bungkuk Lake was an amazing lake located in the northern part of Cambodia. It was famous for its amazing vast waterscapes and sunsets. The lake was so popular, tourists would flock from all over the world to see this amazing place, but unfortunately, all of this tourism created a lot of rubbish. However, because the area made so much money, the local government wanted to build more hotels, and they did this by filling over 90% of the lake with sand. Sadly, this development destroyed much of the lake. 4,000 families in the local area depend on the lake for survival, and many had to relocate or deal with a lot of flooding. It's sad that greed and lust for money destroyed this amazing place. The Chacaltaya Glacier in Bolivia. For many years, this place was famous among skiers, and that's because it was once the world's highest ski resort. You could ski so high up the mountain that passengers on planes could wave while they flew past. The ski resort was above the clouds at 17,300 feet, and below were amazing views of Lake Titicaca. But thanks to climate change, much of that glacier's disappeared. They knew this was coming, but it happened much faster than they expected. A lot of the snow is simply melted, and now it's just hard rock. You can't even ski there anymore. This caused the tourism to dry up, and now it's a ghost town with abandoned buildings. Also, local water supplies were dependent on the glaciers, but now these have melted, many people cannot get water. The Aral Sea. At one point, the Aral Sea was the 4th largest freshwater lake in the world. The Aral Sea lies between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, but for many years there's been an irrigation project going on by the sea. This irrigation project caused almost all of the water to dry up. This devastated the surrounding fishing communities, and the remaining water ended up being too salty for fish to live in the lake. There's also lots of pollution in the sea, and experts say that nothing can be done, and the sea will never go back to how it once was. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a like. It helps us out so much, and it allows us to continue to make content just like this. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, make sure to click that notification bell as well. Anyways, thanks for joining us today on Top Quick Peek, and we'll see you next time.